Hey guys, in front of the camera here I have a budget knife from CRKT. I call it a budget knife because of the price point it comes in, which we will talk about. This is the Jinx Z, and this is based off the original Jinx. So if you remember back in 2014, CRKT collaborated with Lion Steel in Italy to make a very high-end production flipper, which was the Jinx, and that one was titanium handles. It had Sleipner steel, and it was constructed by Lion Steel, and that I think came in close to $400. It was a really expensive knife, and I think it was only limited to about a little over 500 pieces, so it was very limited. There were some complaints about it. You know, with some Lion Steels, some of the stuff that comes out of that Italian factory, there's sometimes fit and finish issues, and I believe that the Jinx had a few issues. It was also very heavy. It was around, it was over 6 ounces. This one's not light either, so we'll get to that as well. But this is also extremely, it's a whole lot cheaper, and it's also not manufactured by Lion Steel. So this is actually a Taiwanese produced knife from CRKT. CRKT will do stuff out of Taiwan as well as China. And this is not titanium handled. This is glass reinforced nylon handles. So this drives the price down significantly. So let's take a look at this knife. We have IKBS in the pivot there, so it allows very good deployment. If you saw my video on the CRKT GSD, even though that had IKBS, it didn't always reliably flip out, but there's no problem with this. This actually works really well. It's not quite as smooth and I guess as quick as you'd say the Hootenanny, which is I think one of their best flippers that they have from CRKT in their budget lines. But this actually does really well, and I haven't had any issues with it not deploying. And you can do it with the light switch, opens up. You do push button, opens up, no problems. And so the IKBS works really well. Typically when they put it in their knives, even though they're budget line, I guess you'd say, they still reliably flip. Let's take a look kind of at this. So you have the glass reinforced nylon handles. The original had standoffs and was all titanium. This just has the glass reinforced nylon backspacer, save cost. Has a lanyard hole just like the original. The pocket clip is different. The original had the Lion Steel pocket clip, which mounted on the butt end of the knife, and like the SR1 and SR2, you could flip it over with unscrewing the glass breaker that was attached. This, however, is a little bit different style of a pocket clip. It's still deep carry, but as you can see here, on the side that you're not using, it has a plastic insert with 2 screws. So it actually is pretty neat in that sense that it doesn't leave the side that you're not using the pocket clip on with any kind of hole. And because of the way that pocket clip is designed, the screws are actually sunken in there, so they shouldn't interfere when you have this in your pocket. And so it rides, it's a nice deep carry clip. Not a very big clip, but it does the job. So it's not a titanium clip, of course. I think the original had the titanium clip, and it was a little bit different design. It was more of a Lion Steel design, but this still works. And of course, it is swappable, tip up left or right handed, which is good because a lot of times CRKT only makes their pocket clips either a single position or only the right side. So this is a good lefty friendly knife, I'd say. So Let's take a look at that. Pivot is similar to the original with that kind of Y-shaped pivot, but it still has a torque side here, so it's still adjustable. It's not anything proprietary. The rest of it is all Torx construction as well, so you can take apart this knife. I will probably not, because I don't want to deal with the IKBS bearings going all over the place. But yeah, I mean, I've never had the original Jinx, but I'm sure that, you know, it feels like a higher quality than this, because this is plastic and that was titanium, but it's probably also a lot heavier. So let's take a look at the blade. We have like a modified sheep's foot design. It's flat ground from the flats here down. So it's not a hollow ground, no, that is flat. But you have flats up here at the top. On the blade here we have the IKBS logo, Jinx Canadian design. I believe down here is the model number, right there on the blade. And we have the CRKT logo. Now, unlike the original Jinx, this is a liner lock. The original was a frame lock. And the texturing on the handle is different. The original Jinx was lines going down that were milled in. And this is just kind of a checkered pattern, which doesn't really provide any grip. It just provides a little bit of texture. You know, not too bad. And that is sunken in, if you can tell, like the original. So it looks a lot like the original, just in the budget form. The flipper tab also has a little bit of jimping on the top, and there's a little bit of attempt at a jimping in the glass reinforced nylon handle scales at the top there, but there's no jimping on the blade. I'd say this is more of an EDC blade, even though it's a longer blade. Let's take out the tape measure and take a look at it. I'd say this is not really ideal for self-defense. So we got like almost a 3.5, about a 3.5. It's hard to tell, but yeah, about a 3.5, 3 3/4 of cutting edge, and an overall length of about 8 inches. So it's not a very small folder. It's not overly big, but I would say, yeah, this is definitely more EDC than self-defense, especially with that blade shape and really not much traction. And this is kind of, you know, for those people who really liked the design of the Jinx, but they didn't want to pay the money, or they weren't able to get their hands on one. This is a lot cheaper. And this comes in, what did I get this for? I bought this for about $45. So that gives you an idea that, yeah, this is an under $50 blade. So it's not bad. Now the steel is something I'm not very familiar with. It's 1.4116 stainless steel. And I looked it up, and people were saying that it kind of resembles maybe 440A, 440B, or an AUS 8. So it's a budget steel. I'm not sure who actually makes that steel. So if anyone knows that, feel free to chime in the comments there. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at a budget steel, of course, because, you know, we're paying under $50. We're getting, you know, a decent amount of blade. You know, we also have a designer, Canadian. So of course, yeah, we're getting a budget steel. Now I'm not sure how well it will perform. I'm not sure how much use this knife is actually going to see, if this is going to kind of be in the collection. But, you know, I'm sure that it will cut, it will have an edge if you put it on it. Now it might not have the best edge retention. Edge might roll on you, but, you know, you're not paying a lot for this knife. So yeah, that's kind of the steel. Taiwanese produced. So let's take a look at the weight. So the original weighed in, I think, over 6 ounces, which is really heavy. This one is not light by any standards. Let's let that zero in. But this one comes in at 4.93, so we're under 5 ounces. So lighter than the original for sure. Some people might think that's still pretty heavy. Now they could have, and I'm sure it's cost, they could have done some milling down there in the stainless steel liners. There's one for the lock side, and there's also there's also a stainless steel liner on the opposite side. I'm pretty sure because they just worried about strength with the plastic handles. But there's no milling in there, so it probably could be lighter. But honestly, this is kind of balanced out around where the finger groove is here. So that blade is actually really heavy. And I'm not sure if it's as thick as the original, but you do have a pretty decently thick blade stock on there. So, yeah, it's a Jinx Z. It's a pretty decent budget knife from CRKT, and a good lefty-friendly knife, because a lot of CRKTs I don't buy because of that. But this I was interested in because I never had the original Jinx, and the fact that you could still swap the clip on this one, and it was a whole lot cheaper to try out than a normal Jinx. I figured why not. You have a little bit of sharpening choil there as well. Interesting looking blade. I mean, this is obviously a kind of new design. Really neat. I think it's worth it. For $45, for the amount of blade you're getting, for just how, I mean, that locks up well too, but how well that IKBS works in this knife. I mean, Kershaw does really good assisted openers with their speed safe system. If you want something that's not assisted, this actually does really well. And the detent is good. You can't shake this. Yeah, I'm shaking off camera. Can't shake this out, so it's well tuned. You know, it's not as nice and smooth as some of my KVT ball bearing knives from Zero Tolerance, but those are a lot more expensive. And as a lefty, I can still disengage this one-handed. If you go up underneath the lock bar, you have to get past the detent a little bit, but you can still close it one-handed. Now, I'm not used to doing this right-handed. Yeah, it's a little bit easier right-handed. You can use your thumb to disengage it. But this is one of those knives that left-handed I can still disengage with one hand. It's a little bit tricky, but you get used to it. But yeah, that's the Jinx Z from CRKT, a budget version of the original Jinx. I got mine over at GP Knives for $45. And so if you want to, I'll probably leave a link down there below of where you can get it at GP Knives. And yeah, so feel free to comment down below, like and subscribe for more videos. And as always, thanks for watching.